And I like to say there are three things in the world that actually makes me happy. One is interacting with my kids, two is running, and three, let's say, it's designing things and solving problems for other people. So during this talk, there are two rules. Rule number one is if you have a question, just ask. Because otherwise, it's like if you wait till the end of this talk, the context itself will be switched, and it doesn't make maybe sense to ask certain questions. It's always good to ask whenever you feel to ask a question. So feel free to ask. And rule number two is that whenever you feel that something might be funny, because I'm expecting laughs. If you feel that something is funny, you don't know should I laugh or not, then for sure go with the laugh. So the format itself, or the composition of this presentation is that I'm introducing you 5 different principles that I've learned throughout the years and principles that I have practiced that make me happy. That necessarily does not mean that it implies for you guys, but I hope they might be like kind of universal. And the next thing is a question for you guys. What is gray, has 6 legs, 2 arms, and 20 feet tall?
Skyscraper?
Quite good answers. No, it's an accountant riding an elephant. And that kind of this is the smart part now. Thank you guys. As you are calibrated, you know, whenever you feel that kind of emotion, then it's time for you to laugh. So moving on, a little bit about myself as well. I guess most of you have already know who I am, but who doesn't, then there's minute facts about me. So if you think that 193 stands for how many awards I have won, then you're wrong. It's my actual physical height. Number 4, if you guess that this is how many awards I have won, again, you're wrong. That is my professional longevity, I don't know, in Mars years. So I have been a professional designer for 4 Mars years. And now we get to the most important number, which is 32. And I think this is the number that makes my parents the most proud. I mean, my parents the most proud, which stands for I'm a 32nd degree cock artist. I still laughing. Which sounds like if you think about like there is this degrees of masonry. There's also degrees for being really good at drawing ticks. I'm almost on the top 35th is the highest level, so I still have a way to go. But the principles. So the first thing is do stupid shit. Yeah. So years ago, I had the chance to not only design but produce a music video with my friends. It was our like a college final year, and there was a study that we had to do. Anyways, the music videos, our friends were in a band. It's called. I want to say Fade Out Boys, but they are After Fade Out. Yeah. So generally, they are a teenage Christian band. The music video itself, I mean, the plot was about really depressing kids, or one kid that's lost in the city. So we thought that the best idea would be to kind of travel through the city so that kind of present that the person is kind of lost there. There was one scene that we had to drive through the busy streets of Tartu. And now I have to kind of give you the backstory how the setup itself looked like. So we had a really crappy flatbed truck that barely ran. We had a trailer that was hitched behind it, and on the trailer there was this really sketchy setup of this kid who was sitting on a wheelchair, and there was the TV on a cover with him. So it was semi-attached to the trailer. We used only one, how do you call this one? Ratchet thingy strap. Ratchet strap? Is it? Does anyone know the
Yes, yeah.
Let's call it ratchet strap. So this was the setup, and if you, I don't know if you remember, but the Duru speed itself years back was quite crappy, which meant that it's like very wobbly. And I think what I mean by like do stupid shit is like I think we kind of risk ourselves of getting some jail time. But fortunately, we had a really good guy who was willing to do everything. I think we promised him to get lots of fame and pussy. So, yeah, I don't know what has happened to this guy, but fortunately, he received what he was expecting. So, moving on. Second principle is hard message. I think this is my favorite one. I'm well known, at least in this company, based on that principle. What I mean by that is I like to hide things. I like to hide things in my designs, and that gives me a lot of pleasure. So a couple of years ago, I had an opportunity to work together with the World Orienteering Championship Committee and design a logo and identity for them. So the idea itself was to kind of incorporate our national bird, which is swallow. Cool. And into that swallow, to incorporate that, what's it like a checkpoint mark for orienteers. If you don't know, then the check mark itself is a square that is divided diagonally into two triangles. One is usually orange and the other one is white, and you kind of, when you're orienteering, you have to find those. So that one is, I try to hide that one inside of it. Moving on. This is my personal identity, and as you can see, it's kind of resembles me. It's a monkey. Moving on. This was actually my second project in Mobi Lab, which was about Wi-Fi screen locker. So whenever you were in a certain Wi-Fi area, then you were able to unlock your device easily. Otherwise, you had to use whatever kind of magic to actually. Well, I mean, it was meant harder for you to get inside the device. And besides them wanting to have the UI and UX from us, they need also identity and also the whole. It's a key. Maybe based on those two final ones, you can now understand why I'm 32nd degree of co-artist. Yeah, moving on. Another thing is, this is like, I think really important story for Mobi Lab itself is how, okay, let's come to that one. As you can see, this bubble thingy, that represents our creative mind, our creative power. It's something that we produce here. And it, in an animation, the bubble itself comes out from the letter B, but it comes out from a certain angle, as you can see from there. And that angle represents our physical Tartu office location. So story tells that from Mobi Lab, the bubble comes out, our creativity comes out exactly from here. Make sense? Yeah, lovely. Moving on. Another cool client project, I really love actually this project, and the partnership with this client has been awesome. It's a product called LetNet. Maybe you have seen those physical towers around it's around Lõunakeskus and in Nukukeskus in Viljandi and also somewhere in Tallinn. But the service itself is about you can tell to your courier that keep your stuff in this huge tower, and I can pick them up whenever it's feasible for me. Otherwise, I guess most of you have experienced that the courier leaves or like calls to you, I'm next to your door. Can you come park more in the office or somewhere else? So that was the thing, and the onboarding itself. Want me to move? No. So the onboarding itself wanted to incorporate some details, some illustrations, and one story itself talked about what you can do is you can take your key, you can put the key inside this tower, and maybe your friends are visiting you during weekend when you're off from the city, and they can take the key. And you can have leisure time somewhere in the beach. So, when I was thinking about the illustration of the beach, the first thing that came to my mind was, if you remember the Police Academy second movie, there was a scene where all the cadets were patrolling in beach area, and there was this, I don't know, was it Mahoney, Sergeant Mahoney or something.
Yeah.
Can anyone correct me?
Yes, I think it was.
That was the last one there. So yeah, he was kind of like being thick as he was. He lied on there and sunbathed and fell into sleep, and the guys or the cadets drew something on his chest. Does anyone remember what it was? Then let me remind you. It was door. That was the thing that I incorporate there. And the funny thing that I have like hiding into my designs for years. I have been working in a company called like Local Lights for many years, and what they are producing is first of all they are company similar to TripAdvisor, so they are producing this local or like venues and restaurants and everything, but in the sense that the locals are reviewers, and they're giving out also paper maps, and I've been dealing with those paper maps, and usually the process itself was quite stressful in the case that you had pretty much 3 days to design the whole map, get it into a print, and during that stressful time, the most enjoyable part for me was hiding this guy, and this guy is called Hillar. He's a really tiny guy, and it's like, where in the world is Waldo? Yeah. Where is Waldo? In the book, it's the same archetype, but it's Hillar. Can anyone guess who is Hillar? What's the real word stereotype for Hillar? Meaning like his actual name is started with Hillar, and I guess he's the most famous Hillar in Estonia.
Hillar Palovitš.
No, unfortunately not. Any other guess? I hope that you know this guy, but he's Hillar Kohv. Who doesn't know who Hillar Kohv is? This media itself has spun a story around him that he's this metrosexual, weird kind of guy. Why I incorporated him over here is because he's from the neighbor village where I grew up. So I saw him quite often when I was a kid, and he always had his briefcase when he was walking around. I guess he's like this weird kind of guy in the sense that he wants to become a journalist. He was always calling to those radio shows, and I guess like Anneveski was his secret love. But anyways, he had this briefcase, and I imagine that inside this briefcase usually he had like some milk and eggs and his journal papers. It wasn't like really his kind of character thing, so I was like taking a little story around him that he has this short t-shirt and walking around in different cities, whether it was in Vilnius or Riga or Tallinn or Tartu or Berlin or Stockholm or whatever, and he's been portrayed in many maps. So whenever you see those like local maps, you can find him and know it's the background and who is the person. And the third principle is jump out of the box.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
This hidden stuff, has anybody ever found it? like not just you, but somebody else that you didn't show it to? And I guess follow-up is, did it ever come back to bite you in the ass where you did something that the client did not like?
So far, I haven't landed into a trouble.
But have people found it?
Yeah, they have. Usually, the funny thing is that I will come back to this part, but there is a poster, and I have told this story to my friends, and they look at that poster and they're like, "Hey, Elmo, did you hide an ass here?" I didn't do intentionally nothing with this poster, but like people are seeing now things. But yeah, some colleagues have found stuff. This cock thing, actually, they found out which was this key thing. They do find, but it's like no clients have come back to me. Maybe they have found. It hasn't landed me into trouble. So moving on, the third principle is jump out of the box, which is tied together really tightly with one of my favorite mediums, that is like it's a paper, and more particularly a business card. You see, business cards are like really tiny real estate areas that you can hide information, but it's quite tight. You have to figure out like what to put there in order to represent the business the best way, and it's also like your calling card or your facade. So there are like showing you two business cards that have been fortunately designed. The first one was for greenhouse. Now they're color. But when they started, they were a greenhouse, and the idea itself was quite simple. The name was greenhouse. Let's put the greenhouse there. That is flow foldable, and this was a business card / promo piece for a sales conference. And during the sales conference, I guess the business cards were the most interesting things throughout the whole area, because people came in front of their desk and pretty much took all the business cards and went away just like, I'm gonna take more than one because I want to show it to my friends. So those business cards kind of disappeared really fast. The second business card is for CXO. What the company does is they're offering a back-end service, so back office service, which is like accounting, HR, legal issues, and their, so to say, tool for every day is communication. And I want to embed the conversation into this business card. I mean, if you look at it on one side or on another side, it had an information, but if you folded it, so it started to make sense. Otherwise, it was just like some stupid remark. But if you fold it, then it makes sense that how many accountants does it take to change a light bulb, and how much money do you have? And so it made like a conversation. And moving on, the fourth one, which pretty much is take the bull by its horns whenever it presents. So the same collective that we filmed this movie, and during the same movie production, we had this tiny problem. As I introduced the set for you, there was one really crucial element that I didn't introduce, that was the carpet. You see, we needed the carpet because it tied the whole scene together. There was the wheelchair, person was sitting there. In some scenes it was in Raekoja or in different streets, and also in Raekoja. So something had to tie together, and we had no money as we were students to kind of find any Persian high quality carpet. So we went into a low budget, and a friend of us suggested that in his apartment building cellar there was a carpet kind of rolled into a burrito, and we were like, okay, let's take that one. Yeah, it's gonna work super fine. So we went into our secret hideout where we constructed everything, and when we opened the burrito, it was covered with millions of maggots. Yeah, so we were like, the dilemma, what should we do? Should we toss it away? So it was like, okay, then, let's take the brooms. We broomed away the maggots, and Kristjan was the only person who had to be on that carpet. And we, and we realized that this collective, this creative collecting can be just more than a one project thing. So we formed an actual creative collect, and we named ourselves Maggot Carpet. In Estonian it's Vagla Vaip, but it definitely the translation is Maggot Carpet, and it's based on that story. And I think every good brand should have their story, and this is how it looks like. Does it now make sense? The whole layout?
Yes.
Thanks. Now to the final principle, which is there to stand out. Oh, wait, was feeling himself funny. Yeah. So there to stand out is it's a legendary story, and it's a true story, I have to say. So you see, in every year, we're organizing an internship campaign, and the internship campaign is usually tied with London because there are like really good design vibe, there are really good design schools, plus there are like design conferences, and we also, this is our target market as well. So we can apply our interest there. That particularly, okay, another thing is the schedule itself is usually 2 days of intense studying or like, being involved in design, and then there are 1 or 2 days that everyone can spend for their own activities. That particular year, me, Veiko, and Nele, we kind of took our ways to kind of stroll around in the city and thought that it would be a cool idea. Nele wanted to go in Chinatown. It's like, okay, let's go and have a bubble tea. And Veiko was like, if we're there, let's go and see some musical. Like, fine. We bought the musical tickets and went to Chinatown, had our bubble tea, and thought, okay, let's have some meal as well. On our way to a restaurant, I noticed a fruit stand. And back then, you have to know, I was a hardcore fruitarian, which means 100% of my caloric intake came from raw fruits. And my bucket list, one of my bucket list fruit was the durian. So if you don't know, let me introduce you some characteristics of durian. It is spiky, as you can see from this image. It can grow up to 10 kilograms, which is quite heavy fruit as well. It is called the king of the fruits. And the reason is because it is super tasty. It's mouth-watering. It's creamy. It's like if you think about ice cream, but ice cream on steroids. So I was like, yeah, let me buy that one. So I bought quite a huge one. The shop attendant was kind enough to wrap it inside the newspaper. So I tossed it in my bag, and we went had some meal, and our venue or the theater play was starting. So we went to the Apollo Victoria Theatre in London to see the Wicked. I was underdressed for sure. I think I had the same shorts or same colored shorts. T-shirt, it was 30 degrees outside, which meant I was sweaty and smelly. My fellow partners, they were a little bit more decent, so they fitted into the scene. So we went inside, and this is what the venue looks like, or the theater itself. And we were situated right over there, which means there was like 7 seats from being in the dead center. So we were like in a really good viewing, I would say. Tension was getting higher, the lights were dimming down, and the play started. And also, now I have to come to the final part about the characteristics of durian. It smells like rotten ass. It's like a rotten onion or some carcass that has been just like smelling for weeks. So it was in my backpack. My backpack wasn't in the, how to say, closet. It was like between my legs. So whenever the scene started, this smell cloud started rising from the bag and it started going to the theater hall, and the play itself lasts for 3 hours. And you have to know one thing: if you kind of wrap the fruits inside the paper bag or something, paper, it starts to make the ripening process is like made even faster. So it started to get intense and more intense. From why I looked on to my left where Veiko was sitting and we just smiled to each other. Yeah, but why I wanted to say that there to stand out is like when the experience ended for others, and when we came out from the theater, we realized that this kind of experiences should become our benchmark for internships. Not in the sense of the smelly way, but in the sense of storytelling wise. Yeah, and some things of those principles that I'm using, not all, but most of them in every of my design makes me a really happy camper. So whether I do, I